Hello kids. Last week we have learned about how Rama had to leave Ayodhya. Sumanthra, the minister of King Dasaratha, he brought his chariot and he dropped Rama, Sita and Lakshmana at Shrungaberapura. Shrungaberapura is the small village. Guha was the leader of the tribe who lives there in Shrungaberapura. Then Guha gave a ride to Rama, Sita and Lakshmana to help cross the river Ganga, and then the three went to sage Bharadwaja's ashram. There Bharadwaja suggested a good place for them to live, Chitrakoot. So that night they stayed at Bharadwaja's ashram, and in the morning they took the permission of Bharadwaja. They followed his directions. They went westward along the Yamuna river and built a raft to cross the river. Across the Yamuna, they saw a gigantic tree named Shyama. Rama showed this to Lakshmana and Sita, then said, "This is Shyama, the banyan tree that Bharadwaja told us about." I think this tree is still there at Prayag. We can see that when we go to Prayag, there Ganga and Yamuna, they both rivers, they meet there. At that place, we can see that very big, gigantic banyan tree. Rama only goes how rishis guided him. He followed their directions only. There, they saw beautiful kimshuka trees, fruits, and the huge honeycombs, beautiful birds. Sita got so delighted. They met many rishis living there, including Valmeeki. You all remember Valmeeki, right? Valmeeki, who is Valmeeki? Valmeeki is the author of Ramayana. But at that time, when Rama met Valmeeki in the forest, they both did not know that Valmeeki is going to write Ramayana in the future. Valmeeki himself, he didn't know. He just met Rama there, and they bowed to him and received his blessings. In Chitrakoot, there are so many rishis has attained moksha, that is liberation of the soul. That means they don't have to take birth on this earth again after spending 100 winters there. After they have selected a suitable place in Chitrakoot mountain, Lakshmana built a hut there. It is called Parnashala. Rama and Sita worshipped the gods, made offerings to all the gods. It is just like a housewarming ceremony. When we buy a house here, we celebrate the housewarming ceremony, right? The same way, Rama also, he worshipped the gods, he made offerings to all the gods, and he did that housewarming ceremony. And he also did Vastu Puja. What is Vastu? Vastu is a science of Vastu is the science of architecture. It describes principles of design, layout, measures, ground preparation, space arrangements, and so many things. Vastu is very important. So by listening this, we came to know even at that time, in that era also, they are believing this Vastu Shastra, astrology and all. In this beautiful place beside the river Mandakini, Rama no longer grieved for Ayodhya. We knew Sita loved the nature there, so they three were living very happily. Meanwhile, Guha, who helped Rama to cross Ganga and reach Bharadwaja's ashram, he returned to Shrungaberapura. The minister Sumanthra was waiting there for Guha. Sumanthra stopped there. From there, Guha helped Rama, Sita, Lakshmana to go further. So Sumanthra he was waiting for Guha to come back. When he came back, he talked to Sumanthra. Guha informed Sumanthra that Rama reached Chitrakoota. So Sumanthra now wants to go back to Ayodhya. So he traveled for 2 days. On the evening of the third day, he reached Ayodhya. The streets of Ayodhya were so empty. In one or two places, citizens stood in groups glorifying Rama's virtues. Usually, Ayodhya's streets are filled with people, rishis, the instrument noises. So they are always lively, those streets. But now he didn't see anybody in the streets except here and there. He saw some groups of people talking about Rama, and a few others were blaming Kaikeyi and Dasaratha. They all were worried how Sita, Rama, Lakshmana would live in the forest. Sumanthra came to the palace. Overwhelming grief had aged Dasaratha. So, with grief, Dasaratha looked very old because he has been worrying about Rama. Those 2-3 days he was very sad. Dasaratha asked Sumanthra which forest Rama chose to live and what food do they get there. Dasaratha worries about how they are going to protect themselves from cold, storms, and heat, how they walk on the hard, stony, thorny paths. So Sumanthra answered, they are not in such bad state as you imagine, O king. After crossing Ganga, they went to the hermitage of Bharadwaja. Citizens followed them to the outskirts of Ayodhya. On the way, Sri Rama's friend Guha treated them with great hospitality. Sage Bharadwaja suggested them to go to Chitrakoota. They did not seem to be having difficulties in the forest. The beauty of the nature delighted Sita. Besides, her husband Sri Rama is with her. All the three are quite happy. You don't need to be worried, king. And he also said, Rama and Lakshmana, they went with Vishwamitra for a few days to the forest. So they got used to live in the forest. So they are not having any difficulties there. Sumantra's words made Dasaratha and Kausalya more unhappy. Why? Dasaratha and Kausalya, they were expecting Rama would come back because if they are not able to live in the forest with Sita, Dasaratha and Kausalya were expecting them to come back. But when Sumantra said they are having very nice time, they are not having any difficulties living in the forest, they lost their hope of Rama coming back from the forest. Now it is confirmed that Rama is not going to come back until he completes his exile in the forest for 14 years. So Dasaratha collapsed in sorrow. Overwhelmed with grief, Dasaratha struggled to sit up. Dasaratha said to Kausalya, Kausalya, I will not live long. We reap the fruit of our own deeds, whether good or evil. This sorrow is the result of a sin I committed in my youth, which I regret deeply. This happened before you and I were married. I was proud of my ability to shoot a hidden animal just by hearing its sound. That ability is called Shabdabhedi. We know this word, right? Shabdabhedi. Where did we hear this? We heard this when Rama was killing Tataki. When Rama went with Vishwamitra to the forest, she was the first demon Rama killed. With the magic power, she was hiding somewhere, she disappeared, and then she was showering all the rocks on Rama. Then, just by hearing that sound, Rama shot his arrows and killed Tataka. We remember that, right? Hmm. So it was rainy season. Eager to hunt, I drove to the river. A little before dawn, I heard the sound of a pitcher being filled with water, and I mistook it for the noise made by an elephant or deer drinking water at Sarayu River. So when Dasharatha, when he was so young, he was not even married that time. He was eager to hunt, and then he went in the forest to hunt. There he heard a sound. He thought it would be some animal. So he shot an arrow. He sent an arrow in the direction of the sound. The aim took. I heard a loud cry of agony of a boy. I was terrified. When I shot the arrow, I thought it was some animal, but now it seemed to be the cry of the human being. So he just shot an arrow thinking that it would be an animal. But when he heard a cry of a boy, then he realized that he shot a human being. I raced to where the cry was came from. Poor man, the son of a rishi, lay on the ground. My arrow has pierced his chest. Blood poured from the wound. So much blood was coming from the wound. He seemed to be at the verge of death. I folded my hands and said, Rishi Kumara, I have committed a terrible crime in my ignorance. Please forgive me. Before you breathe your last breath, command me to do anything. I will do it. He just had a few seconds of his life remaining. Then the boy said, I am the son of the Rishi couple. Both my parents are extremely old and they are blind. They are not able to do their work by themselves. They cannot walk. So I carry them in baskets. Those are tied to a stick. So he carry both of his parents, and he completely devoted his life at their service. They were thirsty, and I came here to carry water to them. Your arrow struck me when I was filling the water in the vessel. I do not fear my death, but I am anguished because there is no one to look after my old parents. The children have to look after their parents at their old age. Now I die an untimely death. What will happen to them? So he was not worrying about his death. He was worried about his parents because they are extremely old and blind. Who are going to take care of them? So we have to take care of our parents when they grow old. The parents took care of us when we are young. Whatever we did, they bear all the troubles, and they raised us happily. But when they get old, so many people, they don't take care of their parents. But that's very wrong. We all have to take care of our parents when they get old, because their energy will go down. They are not able to do most of the things because their body becomes weak. So kids have to take care of them. That's what he is doing here. From Ramayana, we have to learn so many things. We have to learn how to live. Dasharatha saying, I promise you, Rishi Kumara, don't worry. The responsibility of looking after your parents is mine. I shall look after them as my own parents. Then the Rishi Kumara died. His name was Shravana Kumara. I then took water to his parents. They heard my footsteps and they thought it was their son. They asked, Child, why are you so late? What took you so long? Bring the water, dear. Your mother was so worried. Then Dasharatha's voice trembled as he replied. He said, Oh great Rishi, I am not your son. I am a prince, Dasharatha. Today I have committed a great sin. I beg of you, please forgive me. Then I told them about their son's painful death through my thoughtless act. The moment they heard that their son was dead, they fainted. I tended them. They regained their consciousness. They began to wail. That Rishi said, if you had not confessed your sin, your head would have split into 1,000 pieces. There was a thing with rishis when they are in their sadhana, or when they are doing their tapas meditation in the forest. If someone kill them, his head is going to split into 1,000 pieces. But here Dasaratha confessed his crime. So that Rishi was saying, you are saved from that thing that's splitting your head into 1,000 pieces. But that Rishi could not contain his grief. He pronounced a curse. Dasaratha, you have subjected us to grief over the death of our son at the time of our death. Like us, you too will meet your end, suffering through separation from your son. That Rishi was in so much grief because they have all their hopes on their son, but now that son was dead, so they pronounced a curse on Dasharatha. Same like them, Dasharatha even has to separate from his son, and then he is going to meet his end. So these old couple, they are not going to live many days. They were their last days, but at that time they had to face so much grief because of Dasharatha. They did the last rites of their son, and then the rishi and his wife left their bodies. They also died. Do you now see, Kausalya? Our sins cling to us. The sufferings we inflict, knowingly or not, on others will descend on us one day or the other. Whatever bad deeds or good deeds we have done in the past, they are going to come back to us. So if we have done anything wrong in the past, now we have to suffer the consequences. When we die, we leave all the money, clothes, relations here, but whatever we did, and all the information of good or bad deeds, we get punya from good deeds and papa from bad deeds. So it follows our soul wherever we go. It follows us, and then we have to suffer the consequences again after taking a new body. That karma we cannot escape. So Dasharatha's all his senses slowed down working, but he repeatedly remembered Rama's face and wept. He cried a lot, but he was remembering Rama's face in front of his eyes. He was thinking about him. He thought, his last thoughts were, I wouldn't be alive to see you, Sri Rama. Who will see you again are so blessed. Please don't take birth to a man like me who is excessively fond of his wife. So he was thinking like, you are going to come back after 14 years, so I am not able to live that long without seeing you. I wouldn't be alive. But whoever are going to see you, whoever will see you are very blessed. They are very lucky. Next time, if you take a birth, please don't take a birth to a man like me. Because Dasharatha was very obsessed with his third wife, Kaikeyi. Because of her only, he is now facing this type of agony. So, he was very sad, crying, and all his senses stopped working. He concentrated whatever left in his body on Sri Rama's face, and then he left his body. That is what we have to do. By practicing remembering God during lifetime, it is possible to remember God at the time of our death. Otherwise, at the time of our death, we are going to think about something else. about our money, about our relations, how they are going to do after we die. All those things we think like that, but we have to read up on God's name or form, or we have to remember His qualities, activities. Then that is the good thing. Before at the time of death, we have to remember God. Then only we can go to Him. Whatever we think at the time of our death, we will become that in our next life. So he was thinking about Rama, so he's going to meet Rama again in the next life. So this is like death is like a final exam in the school of life. So just like any exam, however we prepare for an exam, this is also like that. We have to practice God's name every day. We have to remember His qualities. Then only we remember to chant His name at the time of our death. Dasaratha succeeded that way. So his last minutes he was thinking about Rama. That means he was thinking about Lord Vishnu. That is the good thing. He is succeeded in that way. People came to know that Dasaratha passed away. They could not believe their ears. They were crying. They all are worried about their future. Even though Dasaratha has 4 sons, no one was there with him at the time of his death. No prince, no king. So citizens worried about their land. That is without a protector, right? There is no king, no prince. So their land is without a protector. So the kingdom without a king is like a river without any water. Who are going to protect them? So they are so worried. Who will punish those who offend justice and righteousness? People will behave as they please without a leader. Some neighboring kingdoms may attack. So within the palace, Vasishta consoled himself as best as he could. Then he has to decide what is to be done now as a family priest. There was nobody there to take any decisions though. So as a priest, Vasishta has to decide something. The great rishis Markandeya, Maudgalya, Vamadeva and Kashyapa, Katyayana, Gautama and Jabali, they all have come to speak to Vasishta about the things that are to be done. So they all advised Vasishta to crown one of the Dasaratha's sons immediately, because Rama and Lakshmana are away, they are not available. So they must bring back Bharata. There is no alternative. But Bharata and Shatrughna are at their grandfather's place. So Vasishta summoned 5 of his royal messengers. He said to them, "Go at once and bring back Bharata." Until then, Dasharatha's body was immersed in oil to prevent decomposing. That time they had some procedures to preserve the body. They had their practices of keeping the body in some special oils, so that the body will not decompose until one of his sons come and perform the final rites. So immediately these royal messengers left on fastest horses. Vasishta told them, "Do not tell Bharata anything. Just tell him all is well." But the family priest wished him to return immediately, as there is some very urgent business awaiting him. So there was a rule that messengers should not inform the events that happened in this kingdom. He has to come back, then only he will be informed. But the messengers are not allowed to tell them anything. They have to say everything is good, all is well, but there is some urgent work, so you have to come back from your grandparents' place. When Bharata comes back, what are the things he's going to see and feel? We are going to learn that about next week. Until then, see you. Bye. Good night. Jai Shri Ram.